Hello, hello, hello. Oh, interesting. Hello, what's going on? We are live. I didn't even realize that. Hey, thank you so much for joining me. For those of you that don't know, my name is Will Johnson. UniteAmericaFirst.com is my website. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening in. I am actually live on my podcast as well. While many of you are watching this, people are listening in. Thank you so much. Please do me a favor. Help me by sharing the video. Help me by sharing the audio. Help me no matter how you're watching this or listening to this. Please help me out by sharing it. It really makes a difference when you share, because then more people are aware of what's going on from a different perspective than what the crazies want you to believe. All right, so I do have a few things that I want to share with you tonight, as usual. And you know what? Did y'all hear Brian Stelter from CNN? He was canned. They canned his show. And I'm willing to bet that he's thinking to himself like, oh my goodness, I'm being downgraded to having to do something like on YouTube. After all this time I'm being on CNN, lying to everybody. And you know what? I'm willing to bet that is probably the main reason why he was fired, because he kept lying and lying and lying over and over again. And I'm going to show you something tonight, because this kind of like, I know that someone at CNN did this to Brian Stelter, his last broadcast. And I'm going to show it to you. And I told people, I said, look, I have some stuff that I'm going to share with y'all from Brian Stelter's last, show. And I'm going to share some stuff with you. Not the entire thing. I mean, he went on and on. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. The people on the left, they don't get it. For some reason, they have this agenda by pushing all this stuff onto us, and they don't understand why we just don't fall in line. They don't get it. Do you understand what I'm trying to convey here? So let me see if I can do it like this. I do have some clips for you I want to share with you. But they keep lying to us, and they see that we're not believing their lies any longer, and they're not understanding why. So what they end up doing is that they try to lie some more to us, the American people, thinking that we're just automatically going to start believing it. They don't get it. The American people are waking up to it. So many people. And you know what? There's a whole bunch of trolls, but these trolls are upset because of people like me, people like you sharing this video, this audio. They're upset because you are helping people wake up. See, the trolls, they don't want people to wake up. They all want everyone to be complacent. They want everyone to just do what the government tells them to do. And they have it in their mind that they know what's best for all of us, as usual. Okay, but before I get to Brian Stelter, before I get to him, I want to share something else with you. They're still trying to force everyone to buy an electric vehicle. Well, I can't afford an electric vehicle. And then on top of that, there was a $7,000 incentive from the government to buy an electric vehicle. And I've talked about this last week. If the vehicle is $30,000, before the government said, hey, we're going to give you $7,000, the price doesn't go down to $23,000. The price of the vehicle now is $37,000. You understand what I'm saying? So all the car manufacturers that make these electric vehicles, all they've done was increase their prices to match what the government is going to give them. I mean, it's just like they do in universities and colleges. When they see that the government is going to give students money, what do? They raise the tuition. They raise it through the roof, because they know the government is going to be paying for some of it, if not all of it. So the car manufacturers did the exact same thing. If you want to get solar, they'll do the same thing. If it's $80,000 to cover your home or whatever it is for solar, then they're going to tack on whatever the government is saying, oh, we'll give you this. They're going to tack that onto it before you even purchase it. This person here, she works for the Biden administration. She is the energy secretary. Her name is Jennifer, and she's telling people that get the electric vehicle and it will be a lot easier. Right? But what about those of us that can't afford the electric vehicle? And they're saying, this is an extremely short clip. Just listen to what she says here.
And of course, the savings from a vehicle perspective of owning, maintaining, and not having to fill up are just enormous.
She said, not having to fill up your vehicle, not having to fill up a car with gasoline, the savings is just enormous. Right? Well, until people can buy an electric vehicle, they can't afford to buy an electric vehicle to make those savings. I mean, this is the Democrats. This is the left. They don't ever think about the ending result. And you know what it really comes down to? They're all about themselves. They're all about we can and you can't. Too bad. So sad. That's exactly the mentality that they have. Now, she goes on Fox News. Surprisingly, she goes on Fox News and he shows her. They went out and actually questioned people about electric vehicles, you know, the average day American, about getting an electric vehicle. And they show it to her. But the ending of this, I don't have the ending of this. I'm a little disappointed about that to get her response. But listen to this clip here.
In fact, Fox asked people whether they plan to take advantage of the tax credit. And here's what they told us, and we'll get your response on the other side. Watch.
I personally wouldn't buy an electric car with that much money.
We're not going to even think about it because we don't have the income available to buy a new car, even with the incentive. What
really is $7,500 against the cost of an electronic car?
$7,500. And again, all the electric companies, all the vehicle companies, the car companies, all they're doing is tacking on that $7,500 to the vehicle before you even purchase it. Someone please make it make sense. Somebody. I mean, does it make sense to you? Think about what I just said. All they're going to do, you're the car company. Right, you're the car company, and Will Johnson's about to buy an electric vehicle from you, but you know the government is going to give me $7,500 to purchase this vehicle that you have for $20,000. But you see me coming, so what do? You increase it by $7,500. So now it's $27,500 for the vehicle, and not $20,000. That is what's happening. And then they think that this is going to help the economy. What in the world is going on? They don't get it. The left, they do not get it. They're doing this to you and I, thinking that you and I are too dumb to recognize what they're doing. They actually believe that we can do this to the American people. And they're just going to be like, oh, this is wonderful. But you know what? There are some stupid Democrats out there that believe everything that they're saying. And it's like they can't do the math. It's really simple. I looked it up. I encourage all of y'all to look it up right now. Chevy, Ford, and there's a few other ones. They've already raised their prices. Already done it. They're not even waiting because they know some people are going to be like, oh, this is a great deal. I'm going to get $7,500. Oh, but it doesn't mean anything because all they do. And you know what? The car companies, the car dealerships, they're going to like see this $7,500 as a bonus because the sticker's already $7,500 cheaper, but now it's just a bonus. And then plus on top of that, if you put a down payment. See, these car dealerships, there are a whole bunch of sharks out there. Whole bunch of sharks. I could spend time sitting there talking about the sharks. But I want to talk about something else that people need to be aware of. I think I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. But I think I'm one person who's constantly talking about how the left is always on the move, some kind of way, trying to figure out how to do away with the U.S. Constitution. Did you know that these groups, these right-wing groups, these are militia groups that they're putting on a domestic terrorist list? Why do you think that these leftists are putting militia groups on the domestic terrorist watch list? Why do you think they're doing that? Because of what the Constitution says. That's the reason why they're doing it. You don't have to believe me, but these are militia groups, and they've done this to militia groups to prevent militia groups from rising up and doing what the U.S. Constitution says. They want to change the U.S. Constitution. I don't know how many times I've said this over and over, and a lot of times I'm just saying it because I've listened to them and pay attention to them. But you know what? I have proof of it. This was from one of the Sunday talk shows. I believe it goes by Fareed. And he's on there and they're talking about the Constitution in Chile. Why in the world, why would we care about the Constitution in Chile? The Communist News Network here in the United States of America is talking about Chile changing their U.S. Constitution. Now, mind you, not the U.S. Constitution, the Chile Constitution. But the Chile Constitution has been changed a number of times already. And they put a thing out there in Chile asking people if they feel comfortable about changing their constitution. And they said yes. This is exactly what they want to do here in the United States of America. They want to change our Constitution. Listen to what they say about Chile.
234 years ago this summer, the Constitution of the United States of America was ratified. There's been a lot of talk in recent years about whether it needs another refresh or wholesale rethinking.
You hear this? Refresh or wholesale rethinking. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even think Fareed is even from the United States of America, but he seems really happy about talking about this story. But again, just like all the rest of the leftists and all the Democrats, they all want to change the U.S. Constitution. And they go into talking about Chile. Like, why should we be concerned about the Constitution in Iran or the Constitution in Israel, for that matter, or the Constitution in Australia? We should be concentrating on the Constitution of the United States of America. But he, just like the Democrats, they're all pushing this whole agenda to get the U.S. Constitution changed because they don't like it. They hate it. And like I mentioned a second ago, these militia groups, these so-called groups that I can't say the name of them. You know who I'm talking about? They're putting them on the domestic terrorist watch list because they want you to believe that the militia is bad. Question: what does the U.S. Constitution say about the militia? I'm just asking the question here. Just asking the question. Now, I told y'all that I have some clips about Brian Stelter, right? I have some clips of Brian Stelter where he's basically looked like he's kind of crying on his way out the door. And he can't help it. His last day, his last episode, he's still talking about Trump. He's still talking about President Trump on his way out the door. Now, I told y'all in the beginning, for those of y'all that was listening in as soon as I started tonight, that somebody at CNN during Brian Stelter's, the eunuch, his last episode, somebody at CNN put the comments of President Trump from True Social on the screen. And it's, you know what? I'm willing to bet that Brian Stelter did not do it because all he says was even the former president talked about him. He's probably aware of what was being said, but I'm willing to bet that he did not put that up on the screen. And I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share what they did, what they showed on Brian Stelter's screen when on his way out the door. Watch this. Listen.
CNN has canceled reliable sources. Yes, the longest running program on the network. NPR's David Folkenflik broke the news on Thursday. And I have a lot of thoughts about it. but I'm going to save those for later this hour.
Watch.
As most of you know, CNN has a new owner. Warner Brothers Discovery is making big changes across the company.
You know what those big changes are? The big changes are that they want to stop having people on the network that just completely lie and lean left. That's the whole point. They're revamping CNN because CNN's ratings has been completely in the dirt, and they're wanting to revamp it. They're trying to reinvent CNN because CNN is not in the middle. They're just as bad as MSDNC, just as bad. But listen, look, I want to show y'all because they're going to put President Trump's Truth Social comment up on the screen. And the interesting thing is what it says. Now, I'm telling you, Brian Stelter did not, I'm willing to bet that he did not approve this.
And there's going to be more change all across the company, including here at CNN. And I'm sad that I won't be here to cover it. But since this is our final episode, we're going to do something a little bit differently today. This entire hour, it's a special hour, and it's about change. It's about change all across the media world. What's changing, what might change, and what must never change about the accountability function of journalism.
Y'all hear him, right? Is he asking, saying that they need to continue to lie? I mean, because that's all he's been doing, right? I mean, I think everybody watching this right now know good and well that Brian Stelter, all he did was lie.
You know, I love this show. This small but mighty show punched above its weight.
See, now, somebody at CNN just put Trump up on the screen. Somebody did this. The last day, someone put Trump up on the screen. I'm telling you. Brian, look, watch.
For so many years. Even a former president commented on the cancellation.
Look, this is what President Trump said. He says, Brian Stelter of fake news CNN got fired because he lied and lied and lied about me. May he rest in peace. Why would Brian Stelter put that up on the screen, his last show? Why would he do that? You know, he didn't do it. Somebody at CNN did this. I'm telling you. It's like this is the last one. Here's my opportunity, and they did it. This is the reason why Brian Stelter got fired, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it because everyone was seeing them lying. Everybody was seeing them lying. Here's another one.
Reliable Sources has been a one-of-a-kind show.
Reliable Sources. And the nerve. What was reliable about them? Somebody.
A popular show. This is one of CNN's highest rated weekend shows. So I want to say thank you to all of you.
Okay. The other part that I want you to see, it kind of went by really quick. I want y'all to see this right here. This right here. Let me make this one full screen too. Look what this one says. This one, again, it says it at the top here. It says trivia question. Who got more charisma, Brian Stelter or Liz Cheney? And he put this on the screen with Brian Stelter. I'm telling y'all, because Stelter, he said, Trump says, I say Liz Cheney because it's really small for me. Sorry. Because Stelter could have gotten more votes. I'm sorry. Who has less charisma? Okay. Who has less charisma, Brian Stelter or Liz Cheney? I say Liz Cheney has less charisma. This is what President Trump's saying, because Stelter could have gotten more votes than she did the other night in Wyoming. She lost by 40. Sorry, I know it's kind of small. It's small for me too. But the point is, somebody in the CNN newsroom put this on the screen, and Brian Stelter didn't even acknowledge it. He didn't even acknowledge it. Look at this one here. And of course, you know, they can't help themselves. It's all about racism for them. It's like they can't get away from it. It's like they can't move away from it. Where's it at? Here we go. Of course, the last episode, and he's got to talk about racism. I mean, and this is another reason why his show got canned, because they can't help it. They're creating a problem, trying to and literally trying to make it look like white people are the problem. You know what the problem is? Stupid people. And stupid people come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. That's what the problem is. It's not a specific group of people. And it's only the left that's saying, oh, bad people, bad white people. It's only the left doing that. Just like back in the day, it was the left saying bad black people, bad black people. It's always been the left. The common denominator has been the left. Now, listen to this. His last episode, and you got to interject racism.
Well, I want to talk about, from my point of view, as a person of color, I wrote a book called Race Baiter that talked about how media outlets use prejudice and stereotypes to make money. And I think one of the things that we've seen is that that's become much more obvious. There's been much fewer code words used. We see people like Tucker Carlson talking about the great replacement theory.
You hear this? And you know what? Again, their narrative on pushing, saying that Tucker Carlson pushing this replacement theory. You know what it is? Tucker Carlson is talking about how the left is wanting to bring people into the country and replace the voters that they've been losing. It's not about replacing white people. They're making this up. Tucker's not racist. If anybody's racist, it's this dude here, along with Brian Stelter and the rest of them on CNN.
We see this disingenuous debate about critical race theory.
And again, you hear that disingenuous debate about critical race theory. They're the ones pushing that nonsense onto kids. And it's not a disingenuous debate. Kids don't need to have that crap pushed onto them, but they do because they want to indoctrinate kids at a young age.
And indeed, you know, the last segment of the show, the very first show that I guest hosted, you know, when we were transitioning from Howie to you, I talked about how media outlets use prejudice and stereotypes to fuel their ratings, to fuel their success, and how viewers needed to resist that.
I mean, doesn't it sound like he's talking about CNN? Because I'm telling you, I watch Fox News. I watch Fox News, not all the time. I watch them with Tucker. I watch them with Hannity. I even watch the 5 every now and then. And I watch some of the other ones, you know, just to see what they're saying. But Fox News, out of all the years that I've been watching Fox News, they're not perfect by far. They've done some stuff that I completely disagree with. But one thing I can say about Fox News, that they've never pushed this whole racist issue. Like, oh my goodness, the white people in the country, or oh my goodness, the black people, the Hispanic. Fox News has never done that as often as I've seen them. Maybe you've seen something. Share the link with me. But every single night, like clockwork, the Communist News Network, along with MSDNC, they're pushing racial issues that aren't even there, that don't even exist.
And I'm sad to say that all the trends that I identified in my book have only gotten worse. You used to have to decode what they were doing. Now they say it outright. And I think it's much more important for people to resist that kind of thing.
Right. So many people started resisting the Communist News Network. Many people stopped watching them. And of course, the owners of CNN said, okay, you know what? If we don't change this, if we don't get away from this, this is going to destroy the bottom line. And rumor has it, because Warner Brothers bought it, rumor has it that Don Sourpuss Lemon, his job may be on the line. Jim Acosta, that nut job, his job may be on the line. If they actually clean house like that, clean house with CNN, and actually start putting some reputable people on CNN, oh my goodness, they will be a force to reckon with, right? Just imagine if they bring people on there that have conservative views and liberal views, Democrat views. Just imagine if they did that. Imagine if they had people on there strong as Tucker, strong as Sean Hannity. What if they brought Bill O'Reilly on the CNN? Would you watch it? Would you watch it? I know that I would. I like Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly wasn't perfect, but I like Bill O'Reilly. Can y'all imagine if somebody like Tucker went over to CNN? Would you watch it? Come on now, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Now, again, they would have to make some dramatic changes. I mean, some serious cleaning house. But to be honest with you, I don't know that they're going to. Because the reason why I say that, because they actually started another show with this lady named Alex on there, and she's so anti-Christian, anti-God, it's like that's her whole MO. Let me share something else with you that happened this past Sunday with Brian Stelter. And you know what? He, like I mentioned to y'all earlier, he's like, I bet y'all that he's saying, oh my goodness, I'm getting, downgraded to someplace like YouTube. Because let me remind y'all, if y'all have never seen this, there was an episode, this may be 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, where Brian Stelter was talking about big tech and how people on YouTube were getting more views than the daytime shows on CNN. And they wanted YouTube, and you know that they did, they wanted YouTube to remove these channels. And I know a lot of channels that got deleted. They were deleting them left and right. So if you ask me, this is what you call karma, what happened to Brian Stelter here. Listen to this.
Yeah, well, I guess big tech has had an incredible effect on how we all do our jobs.
30 years ago, no cell phones, no internet.
Yeah, everybody's a journalist these days. You have a phone, you can record things, you can share them.
Exactly. Everybody has a phone. And see, this is what they're not grasping the concept. They're not understanding. Or at least Brian Stelter and other people in his position, they're not understanding. People are tired of the lying liberal media. They're tired of the mainstream media trying to tell everybody how you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to believe. People can make that discernment on their own, right? You can do that on your own. There's nothing wrong with you looking up various information and figuring out what you want to believe. Let me just really quick, if I can. Just like a UFO, I can tell all of y'all right now there's a UFO over your home. I should be able to say that. Now, if you want to go outside and look and you don't see a UFO, you will, you were lying. There's no UFO over my house. That's called freedom of speech. There's a UFO, right? Right? It's a UFO. What if I see the UFO and you don't? And then they turned around and said, well, you were lying because I didn't see it. Well, I saw it. I'm not saying there is that. I haven't seen a UFO, but I'm just saying. I'm just proving the point here. In the public square, the virtual public square, you can say what you want to say, but you know what the problem is? There's still consequences, right? And it's not the job of the government to try to get in play and tell us what we can and can't say, because the federal government has been working with the tech companies to censor the American people, to violate the First Amendment. They're using tech companies as a proxy, the same way we are at war right now with Russia via the proxy of Ukraine. It's the same thing. They're at war with the American people. They're not hiding the fact that they're doing that. Why do you think that they created this whole, the disinformation board? The government was coming to do that. And there was such an outcry, even from those on the left, like, oh, wait a minute, this is just too much tyrannical stuff.
One of the negative consequences is that everybody who has a social media account is suddenly a media critic. We talk about trust in the media. So many people have criticisms, conspiracies.
Who do y'all trust? Do y'all trust they don't want you to trust anything of your own research. They want you to go directly to them and get all the information that they have for you, because they know what's best for you. That's what they want you to believe. All right. I have one more, if I can. Just one more on Brian Stelter. Is that okay? Are y'all okay with that? Just one more, and then I'm going to move on. It's just one more, okay? It's just one more. Listen what he says.
We're living through an era of dizzying change. We have supercomputers in our pocket. We are all members of the media now. That's probably the biggest change that's happened while this show was on the air. And by the way, that's why it's loony to say the media is the enemy of the people. The media is the people.
You hear this? Now they're trying to say the media is the people because he's losing his job. Before, he wasn't saying any of that. He changed his tune about who the media are. Listen.
People are flawed and opinionated and curious and hopeful and believing in accountability. And that's the watchword here. Accountability.
Accountability. That's the reason why you're getting canned, because someone is holding you accountable for all of the lies that you've done throughout the years, and nothing ever happened. And you thought nothing was going to happen is the reason why you continued to lie.
So this show's going away, but there's going to be so many more. We need to have room for media criticism and debate and discussion, and we will. So much of the media ecosystem in 2022 is garbage, but so much of it is spectacular. The hard part's sorting out the treasure from the trash. These are thorny, complicated things. I know I never had all the answers. I didn't even always have all the questions, but it was the gift of a lifetime to get to confront these issues on international television with the backing of CNN. Here's what I do know. I know it's not partisan to stand up for decency and democracy and dialogue. It's not partisan to stand up to demagogues. It's required. It's patriotic. We must make sure we don't give platforms to those who are lying to our faces.
You hear him. He said we have to make sure that we don't give platforms to those lying to our faces. That's all that he did. That's all that he's done since he's been sitting in that chair. He lied to the American people constantly. And he still doesn't get it. This was like the last few things that he was saying before he was on his way out the door. And he still didn't get it. He lied repeatedly to the American people, and he still doesn't get it.
But we also must make sure we are representing the full spectrum of debate and representing what's going on in this country and in this world. That's why CNN needs to be strong. That's why I believe CNN will always be strong. You viewers at home, it's on you. CNN must remain strong.
That's him trying to kiss up on his way out the door. Like, oh, please, I'm saying CNN needs to remain strong. Maybe one day I can come back. Maybe one day I can come back. Okay, that's the last of Brian Stelter. I have something much worse. I know. Please forgive me. I have something much, much worse. Brian Stelter, we know that he's a blatant liar. We know that his whole thing was he hated Trump. He, day in, day out, they wanted to go against Trump. They couldn't stand it. They wanted to do away with Trump. Their whole life was Trump. Even like I mentioned, his last episode, he's talking about Trump. You know what? The left, they have this compartment. It's kind of big, maybe 2 by 2, square, 2 inches by 2 inches by 2 inches, square. And it's a compartment in their brain, in their head. And on that square box that the leftists have on that box, it says TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. And that box is actually growing. And they like that box being in their head because they have this hatred. I mean, TDS is a real thing. These people really need some help. They really need help because they get triggered by it left and right. But this person here, like I told y'all, it was worse. This person is even worse. Some people are like, oh my goodness, I didn't want to hear what she got to say. I can't stand it. I can't stand it already. She's actually standing, from what I can tell, yes, she's standing in a church. And I want y'all to listen to what this demonic demon says in the church. She's going to say what she's about to say in the church. And let me remind you of something. For those of you that don't know, Satan knows the Bible. You understand what I'm saying? Satan knows the Bible. He knows what's in the Bible. He knows that his time is short. God's word is forever. And Satan knows this. Listen to what this demonic demon says here.
We live in a state that right now has decided to take cruelty to a new level. I am the daughter of 2 pastors. I have a strong moral core. I was trained.
She says she has a strong moral core.
To read and understand the Bible, and I will tell you this.
You hear this? You hear that part? I told y'all the devil knows the Bible. Listen, I'll try not to stop it. I'll try.
Read and understand the Bible, and I will tell you this. There is nothing. I am the daughter of 2 pastors. I have a strong moral core. I was trained to read and understand the Bible, and I will tell you this. There is nothing about the decision to eliminate access to abortion care that is grounded in anything other than cruelty and meanness and danger in the state of Georgia. Nothing.
So where's the connection of taking the life of the innocent child in the Bible? What is she saying here? Y'all understand what she's trying to allude to? She's trying to say that it's cruel not to be able to kill your child. That's exactly what she's saying. She's literally saying it's cruel. It's cruel not to be able to take the life of an innocent unborn child. That's what she's saying. And they're all clapping. Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Abortion care is a medical issue.
See, this is when they're talking about a medical issue, and they call it abortion care. What's the definition of abortion? It's to abort the life.
It is a medical decision, and in the state of Georgia, it is a dangerous one. Brian Kemp, and yes, I'm going to call his name, is a hard-right religious extremist who has decided that he knows better than any woman about her body and has decided to make women second-class citizens in the state of Georgia in the year of our Lord, 2022.
You hear this? In the year of our Lord, 2022. Wow. Wow. So you have Kemp, who is saying, hey, we need to protect the life of these innocent children, and this demonic demon is upset. And let me remind y'all of something else here. Don't they always say separation between church and state? But yes, this demonic demon is going into the church and making it political. Don't they say that? Do you think that they will go after this church, trying to get this church to lose its tax exempt rights? This is happening in the church today. There's so many churches today that refuse to go against these demonic democrats because they're afraid of losing their congregation and they're afraid of losing money. You hear me? They can care less about teaching the actual word. Nowhere in the Bible does it justify. What about the 10 Commandments? Thou shalt not kill. Oh, but you know what? The demonic left, they don't care about the 10 Commandments. They don't care about the sanctity of life. They don't care that you want to have your freedoms. And then these people go into the church. Where's the pastor at? How dare he, or she in this case? This is not a church of God. It can't be. Anytime you have them going in there glorifying death, it cannot be of God. I don't care how you try to look at it, or how you try to twist it, whatever it is, you can't do it. Here, I have something else I want to share with you. This one is probably going to trigger a lot of you because I got triggered listening to this. And you know what? The crazy thing is, I sit here in this chair and I report on this stuff, and I really get passionate about it. And you have to forgive me some of that passion because I just get, just really because of the times that we're living in, the evilness of these people that's been taken over by reprobate mind. I express myself. But when I go out and I'm talking to these crazy people and they're talking crazy like that, I can't help but laugh at them, right? Because, and the thing is, I need to pray for them. And that's all we can do at that point. You can't lay hands on them. All we can do is pray for them and ask that they are filled and understand the truth. But listen to what she says here. This is going to, and you know what? Again, it's always the left that's interjecting racism. It's always the left.
There's no way I can fit all of this in 60 seconds. I'm going to tell you this. If you go to Google and literally Google, how do white women uphold systems of white supremacy in education, you will get link after link after link after link that answer the question. Historically, our job as white women has been to uphold the status quo. And historically, as white women, we see ourselves as like an extension of the white man.
I'm willing to bet right now, without even hearing the white ladies that's watching this broadcast right now coming unglued. I know that you are, because you are an extension of yourself. And if you're an extension of something other than yourself, I would imagine that you're an extension of Christ. This stupidity, it actually exists. And then it's the whole notion that she's trying to push here, that if you're a white teacher and you discipline black or brown kids, whatever color other than white kids, if you discipline them, that's a form of white supremacy. You understand that? See, let me tell you something. I've asked God to discipline me here on this planet. I've asked him to discipline me now. For the things that I've done wrong in the past, Lord, discipline me now. And I think it's obvious why I'm asking the Lord to discipline me now. I've said this for years, because I'm not a perfect person. I've said, Lord, discipline me now, because I don't want to stand before you and then you decide to discipline me. Right? You understand? There's still that discipline. And what's happening, they don't want you to be able to discipline children. They just want you to have children that are tyrants. Grow up and act and think like this woman here.
And so with that comes wanting that same power. And one of the biggest ways that we gain that power is through our tears. So when we look at that from an educational standpoint, and I'm going to use discipline as an example because it was in the comments and it's pretty digestible. Like, you can clearly see discipline when it's an example. As white teachers, when we say, oh, this student's giving me issues and they're put out of class, that fuels that school to prison pipeline, which is a white supremacist system that we are upholding. Same with other punitive discipline measures.
I mean, do y'all need, I share this stuff with you. I know you're getting triggered by it. I got triggered by it because this is who they are. This is who they are. This thing is real. This thing is real. This life, this what we're seeing, these demonic people and their mindset, this thing is real. It's not something that's coming in the future, people. No, it's not something that's coming in the future. It's already here. How many of y'all want to send me a message right now and say, oh, well, none of this stuff is going to happen in my lifetime? How many of y'all want to send me a message to say that? Because there's been people that said it in the past. And here it is. Here it is. Pretty silent now about it, right? Because I'm like, oh, well, I can't say that to Will Johnson any longer because it's actually happening right now. It's happening right now. It's not like that I want it to happen. It's not like I'm calling for it to happen. I've just been paying attention, seeing it coming. That's all I'm doing. Again, let me make sure it's clear here. No crystal ball. No, don't claim to be a prophet. All I do is I see the writing on the wall, and I'm just sharing it with you. I've had YouTube delete my channel about something that I saw coming, and YouTube delete my other channel. Killed it. Because I told y'all what the writing was on the wall. And then a year later, it's true. It's true. It's just because I saw it coming. And more stuff is coming. And I constantly tell people, y'all need to get ready. Y'all need to prepare. You need to prepare. I put links on my website. If you go to the sponsors on my website, there's links there that there's things you can do on my website that you can prepare to get ready for it. I've told people about making the switch. There's actually a company that you can buy American-made products. And I mean 100% American-made. 100% American-made. And see, the thing, I think what happens is that people look at it and they're like, well, they have this hard time from switching. Go to my website and click on the link, Patriot Switch. You know that it's like the three lines. I call them the hamburger stack, but it's like three little lines. You hit on it, get a drop down menu. One of them says Patriot Switch. Click on that. There's a video there explaining what's going on. But there's a switch that needs to take place. And people are not really understanding it. And some people look at him like, well, I don't know. If you trust me, because I made the switch myself, because I want to do what my website is. Unite America First. It's America First. America First. And there's a company, all American. And more things are coming. More things are coming. All right. Let me say thank you to a few people before I bounce out of here. Douglas, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much, Douglas. And thank you so much as well. Laurel, thank you for the stars. Mildred, thank you for the stars. And it was going too fast there. Michelle, thank you for the stars. Sometimes my system acts up a little weird here. If you can put the other one back up there. Sarah is one I missed. Jay Robbins, thank you for the stars. Marlena? Is Marlena? Thank you for the stars. Kathleen, thank you so much for the stars. And then, is that it? Oh, no. Melinda, thank you so much for the stars. Heather, thank you. Susie, thank you. Dana, thank you. Sherry, thank you. Paula, thank you. And is that it? I think that's it. All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much. Hey, if you would, please, if you like any of the information, the content that I brought tonight, please hit the share button. Copy this, share it. I really do appreciate it. And also, I'm live on my podcast right now of this show. I'm live on my podcast. If you want to connect with me on my podcast, go to my website and click on Connect with Will, and you'll be able to click on the podcast and get a connection directly to it. Or just scroll down on the front page, and you'll see my podcast right there. Please subscribe to my podcast. I'm asking everybody to subscribe to the podcast. I'm going to bring some interesting guests on and talk about some interesting things that, we can't talk about other places. Also, if you didn't know, I do have a show Monday through Friday on Lindell TV 2 at 7 p.m. Central. Lindell TV 2 at 7 p.m. Central. Set a mobile alert on your phone. Set a mobile alert on your phone. Everyone knows how to do that. Set a mobile alert. Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Central Time. You go to frankspeech.com, and all you have to do is click on Lindell TV 2. Really good show. Really good show. All right, everybody. God bless. Thank you so much for all the blessings and all the support. And thank you again for sharing this. God bless. Take care.